Here was a another suggestion that I got. Why is Japan so weak in software? Japan, like, it's a weird country when it comes to technology, because people have this, like, and, like, all of Asia, but, like, Japan especially, people have this, like, weird perception that Japan is, like, this super high-tech country, and then they find things out, like, Japan still uses fax machines, and, like, a lot of places don't accept card payments. And there's a lot of businesses that still rely on floppy disks. Remember only a few months ago I heard a story about how recently they still use floppy disks to store government data. That actually happens in the US as well. They do it for military. Well, I think recently they upgraded their military equipment. The main reason for that is if it works, don't fuck with it. Had to send a fax to the DMV. Oh my God. I have never used a fax machine. So... yeah, there's that. But I've never watched this channel, so I have no idea what the deal is here. But it was sent to me, so I wanna check this out. I wanna learn. I want to expand my mind, and they have a picture of a deer. So yeah. Brodie, want to hear something funny? Hyperland recently broke X Wayland so bad that Wine could not take your keyboard input. Yeah, Vaxter likes to do that, doesn't he? Every so often there'll be some, like, really big breakage that causes a problem. But we're not here to talk about Hyperland. We're here to talk about why is Japan so weak in software?
In 2023, Japan ran a digital
You are very quiet. Give me a second.
trade deficit of about 5.5 trillion yen, or $37 billion, meaning that they imported...
that's his audio's level is at max. I don't have the extension installed where you can, like, manually change the volume, but how is the level?
trillions of yen more in software licenses, cloud, and other services than they exported. The deficit is growing. The 2023 amount is twice the amount it was in 2015. Japan's electronics hardware companies are iconic. Sony,
yes.
Fujitsu, Hitachi, Panasonic,
Hitachi for Hitachi for more than one reason. Hitachi. If you know, you know.
Sharp, Toshiba. The list goes on and on. But where is Japan's Microsoft, Oracle, Adobe, or SAP? In this video, we explore how Japan lost the software industry.
Missing Mitsubishi. He also did he mention... Well, he was talking about software companies, not car companies. I guess there is Mitsubishi Electric.
Throughout the 20th century, MIDI, Japan's now famous economic policy ministry, sought to develop its computer industry. Their bogeyman, the American monster that haunted their dreams.
Bogeyman? Bogey. Wait, does any... I need someone to confirm this to me. Do any of you say bogeyman? Because I thought like I've always said boogeyman. So, please, I need someone to confirm whether or not I'm the crazy one. No, I'm not the... Okay, good. He's just saying it weirdly. Good.
Was IBM. Big Blue first entered the land of the rising sun in 1925, selling tabulating machines through a local trading company.
Bogeyman is a thing.
Then in 1937,
so.
IBM set up their own subsidiary, IBM Japan, but its assets were confiscated during World War II. They returned to Japan in 1949, just 1 year before a new Japanese law mandated that all foreign computer companies enter into joint ventures with local companies.
Isn't that the Chinese model as well, where if you want to operate in China, they need, like, you need to have, like, a... I don't know the, like, full details, but, like, you need to have, like, Chinese leadership in the company or something similar like that? Or, like, it needs to be partially owned by a Chinese... Yeah, it is what China does? Yeah, I thought so.
These JVs were essentially forced technology transfers. RCA with Hitachi, GE with Toshiba, and Honeywell with NEC. but IBM owned 100% of IBM Japan and refused to budge on this even in the face of government demands. MIDI and IBM Japan repeatedly clashed over what can be introduced into the Japanese market. Even after
Did he
IBM...
say JAVs? I think he... Not those kind of JAVs. This is not a Kaho video.
IBM's computers were allowed in, government officials pushed customers to buy local and leveraged the issuance of import licenses to enforce it. Yet despite these pressures, Japanese customers continued to favor IBM products due to their clear technical superiority. Yeah, times were different back then.
Yeah. When was the last time? When was the last time IBM had technical superiority? What, like 19? Probably sometime in the 80s. Like you have the IBM basically had controller computers in the 80s, and then IBM clones started popping up. So probably before IBM clones started popping up. So I reckon like mid-80s.
In 1964, IBM introduced its breakthrough line of computers, the System 360. This alarmed MIDI and motivated them to sponsor the super high-performance computer product.
Look at this fucking thing. Look at this thing, man. You have a big red button there. That's presumably to stop it if something goes bad. Oh my lord. Computers were... I have a PC98 emulation set up. Any old games I should play on it? This looks like an Evil Genius prop. It does, though. I don't know what was around for the PC98. There's probably a bunch of... Oh, go play some old visual novels on it. Yeah, go play the original release of
project. Lasting from 1966 to 1971, its objective was to beat the System 360. Previous MIDI efforts focused entirely on computer hardware, architecture, and processor design. But since one of the 360's key selling points was that software written for one computer would work on all of them, theoretically anyway, software could no longer be ignored.
Whoa.
So to make the software...
That's the whole Unix selling point as well. Did Unix like gain attention in Japan as well? I actually don't know.
For the project, in October 1966, MIDI sponsored the Japan Software Company, a joint venture between
obviously
Hitachi,
Unix is a bit later than this.
Fujitsu, and the Industrial Bank of Japan. The Japan Software Company was not Japan's first independent software company. That honor seems to go to Computer Applications, or CAC, but quite close.
Computer Applications, CAC. Computer Applications, CA... Does anyone see a problem with this acronym? So, wait, so it's just taking the C from, like, the middle of applications. Like, usually an acronym is, like, the first letter of each word. But, computer applications, yeah. I guess CA is probably not as good. Did Twitch just notify me an hour and a half late? Yes, I think it might have.
Japan Software's goal was to produce a quote-unquote common language software and common standards for the super high-performance computer project.
Where's
so basically, a universal operating system
today.
for all of Japan's computers. Astoundingly ambitious considering that MIDI only funded Japan Software with 25% of the project.
Computer Applications Company, it could be that. Yes, it could be.
Total 10 billion yen budget. It is clear that for MIDI, software was an afterthought. The Japan Software Company failed to achieve its goals amidst ballooning requirements from so many participants. As difficulties intensified, management failed to acquire any outside sales and lost the confidence of its workers. After government subsidies ended, the company closed in 1972.
No wonder I've never heard of
So what software did the Japanese hardware makers use for their systems?
Yeah, what do they use?
IBM's. In 1969, the threat of an American antitrust lawsuit made IBM unbundle their software and hardware. This was a major...
Right, I see. I'd never seen an Asianometry video before. This is the first one I've seen. Brodie, what headphones do you have? I'm considering getting a new pair. These are SR850s. They're really cheap. I think I paid like 80 Australian dollars for them. Maybe 100. They're open back headphones. I like open backs when I stream. If I put on closed backs, I end up talking even louder than I normally do. But they're not the best, but they work perfectly fine. Yeah.
Milestone in technology industrial history. Previously, IBM and other computer companies included software as part of an overall computing services bundle. Customers wanting a particular...
And now we've reverted back to that model. Now we're just doing the exact same model, but on the internet. Oh, how things change, but nothing changes whatsoever. How old are your headphones? I've probably had these since I started streaming. Probably, maybe a bit longer than that. Yeah, I reckon probably maybe a few months before I started streaming. So I don't know, a couple of years now.
Software package often waited for IBM to eventually produce it and give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
The unbundling assigned a price to what before was given away for free, and it also let small software companies compete against giants like IBM. Many companies started with software that either complemented...
Man, it's wild to hear IBM talked about as a giant when you know about how it is today. Yeah, sure, IBM's still a big company, right? And yeah, they own Red Hat. Yeah. But they're not anything like they were, at all. Even just going back to the 80s, 70s, 60s, IBM is nothing now compared to that. Probably 2020, 2021.
Or extended the functionality of existing IBM packages. So, in the United States, the IBM unbundling created the software industry as we know it today. I did a video about this a while ago that I think would be a fun watch here.
Mm-hmm.
But in Japan, something different happened. There, IBM's unbundling let the Japanese computer makers set up software subsidiaries and quote-unquote adopt IBM's specifications via reverse engineering. This began as early as 19...
So they just start IBM clones. Absolute legends!
1971, when Fujitsu began selling a quote-unquote IBM-compatible mainframe, marketed as being as fast as IBM's, but cheaper. A collaboration with Gene Amdahl, the former chief architect of the System 360, helped Fujitsu refine this compatibility.
Wait, so they just got an IBM guy to work at Fujitsu to help reverse engineer IBM systems. You know what? I can only respect that.
Japanese computer companies almost never used the software as it was. The software had to be...
And note the display of kanji was pretty graphics intensive. Oh, yeah, no, that's actually wild. I wonder if how much kanji it actually supported. If it was only a subset, or if it was hey, we're gonna support everything. Because there is some wild kanji out there that you would not reasonably be able to render on something like this. I don't know what sort of character set they were dealing with.
Modified to display Japanese kanji symbols, and every company had their own approach to doing this. Furthermore, the software was often modified for customers' existing business practices. The Japanese computer companies liked this because it locked in the customer and let them charge more.
High-resolution kanji is bad
So at the
enough.
risk of oversimplification, one can say that the Japanese computer companies became little IBMs of their own.
Oh my god, look at this.
You can argue...
Look at this shot. Look at these cars, man. Look at this fucking shot.
That it was the only way companies like Fujitsu, Hitachi, or NEC could have survived their persistent technological lag against the Americans for so long. Just one little issue.
When cars had flair.
Against the Americans for so long.
To be fair, they would kill you if you hit anything with one of these, you're just gonna die. But I do like the look of cars of this era.
Just one little issue with this use of reverse-engineered IBM software.
Must be running around.
It was theft and illegal. Before a decade plus after IBM software. Just one little issue with this use of reverse-engineered IBM software. It was theft and illegal.
Fuck them! Yeah, I was gonna say, surely you can't just build your entire company off reverse engineering IBM.
Before a decade plus after it started happening in Japan, IBM did little about it for varying reasons. First, definitive copyright protections did not extend to software until the Copyright Act of 1976 legislation took action in 1978.
Isn't cleanroom RE legal? They hired a guy that worked at IBM. They hired one of IBM's upper management. I don't think they were cleanrooming it.
But even after that, IBM had far bigger fish to fry, namely defending against the Titanic antitrust case brought against it in the late 1960s with the goal of...
Remember when antitrust actually did anything and companies actually got broken up? How... Will we be alive when Google eventually gets broken up? Because I don't think we will be.
Picking it up. That only ended in 1982 after the US government realized that it was litigating ghosts. IBM was then rapidly losing share with PC clones flooding the market. With that resolved, IBM could finally turn to the ongoing theft of its software by Japanese companies like Fujitsu. In 1982, they confronted Fujitsu, Hitachi, and others with these allegations. Hitachi and Fujitsu argued that since the System 360 OS was in the public domain at the time they adopted it, they can also use softwares derived from it, like the System 370 OS and so on. They also argued that IBM's software specifications were so widely used that they were a standard and thus not subject to copyright protection.
I love these guys. This is awesome. This is such a great strategy. Oh, that's awesome. Everyone uses it. It's a standard. Fuck you. It's ours now. Did you hear about the Disnet lawsuit? Disnet? Oh, do you mean Disney? If only standards were not subject to copyright infringement. HDMI. If only.
So IBM took the case to its new...
With that logic, can you fork Microsoft Office and Windows 11? I wish. Yeah, I did. I did hear about it. TLDR, we all broke the law, so it's legal. True.
Friend, the U.S. government. In the early 1980s,
I did hear about the lawsuit,
government arrested 18 Japanese employees.
ReactOS is clean-roomed, though. That's the difference. It's one thing if you clean room it. It's another thing when you just look at what already exists and you're like, that's mine now.
Some quite senior, from the Hitachi and Mitsubishi electric companies in an elaborate sting operation and charged them with paying money to steal technical secrets from IBM.
Well,
the IBM spy case, as it was called, stirred up bad feelings on both sides of the Pacific. The United States, then going through a challenging recession and deeply insecure about what it felt was a declining global competitiveness, and Japan, feeling that they were being set up and that the United States was trying to undercut their rise as a world power. They argued that Japanese...
The US would never do that. No, the US would never, ever, ever do that. No, they want there to be a strong global economy with lots of competitors, with different countries all being powerful. The US definitely doesn't want control of everything. No.
Firms like Nintendo and Sega suffered copyright damage in the US too. Good times. For all that huffing and puffing, it was unquestionable that the Japanese computer firms copied IBM's work, right down to the errors. So in the end, they came to a settlement. Fujitsu paid a one-time lump sum plus annual licensing fees as high as $60 million a year.
Woo!
Fujitsu also agreed to respect IBM IP rights going forward. Such software fees seriously threatened the computer makers' competitiveness.
Australia, get back in line. No, that's
the Japanese government tried to step in to save their national champion computer firms. In 1985, MIDI proposed to amend its copyright laws to limit protections on software from the 50-year international standard to just 15 years. This obviously failed to take hold. That MIDI would even consider that makes it clear how serious things were. For years, Japanese computer companies built a whole business on top of closed-source software made by foreigners. Now that was coming back to bite them in the butt. The Japanese government recognized thus a serious software crisis. Without domestic alternatives, Japanese tech providers will always remain dependent on software imports from companies like IBM or Microsoft.
Oh, God.
The one major obstacle was an ongoing big shortage of qualified, productive software programmers in Japan.
Yeah, imagine that if you spend your last 30 years yoinking everything, there's no good programmers around.
Well, that is a major topic in of itself, but a few things come to mind. First, Japanese universities did not have enough qualified teachers in computer science and software. Most computer science professors then trained in other disciplines like math. Teachers also lagged in picking up on the latest compute trends for their curriculums. Lacking English bilingual abilities and overseas experience contributed to this lag. Second, software engineering was not seen as a very attractive job. The biggest employers of software developers in Japan are the software development arms of larger business families operating on a lifetime employment system. Their software developers were not customer-facing and thus lacked career progression. Moreover, the work did not pay very well and was not very fulfilling. Mostly boring customization or maintenance code monkeying.
Oh,
this
that's
somewhat
fun.
persists. In 2010,
they should have just invented Rust. Yes, invent Rust in the 80s. Good plan, yeah.
Our CEO of Infosys estimated that 80% of Japan's software spend went to maintaining existing systems. To compare, this was no more than 60% in the West. But really,
it's not as much of a gap then. I thought it would have been bigger by the way it was being framed. Wasn't just Japan that banned floppies only a few years ago in the government? Yes, they did do that. Well, not banned, but like stop using them. Yo, software, how's it going?
Should not expect big companies to be the tip of the spear in promoting programming's sexiness as an industry. That role is fulfilled by startups. Such startups also serve as centers of technological dynamism in the industry. So we come to my third point, a lack of Japanese software startups. Over in the United States, the 1980s saw the founding of independent software giants like Adobe.
Remember when EA didn't suck? Remember that? Remember when EA was like this really cool company? And it was like, you saw EA on at like the startup of a game. Like you're playing like Underground 2. And you're like, man, this is such like, oh. I miss the PS2 era. The PS2 era was so fucking nice. And I know this is talking about even earlier than that. Too young, so no. I mostly know EA for sports games. That's fair.
Intuit, Synopsys, Cadence, Lotus.
When Adobe wasn't scamming people? Remember when you bought a copy of CS5? And you had a copy of CS5? You just bought it? And you just had it forever? Wow. Imagine that.
Electronic Arts and Autodesk. Not to mention Microsoft and Oracle, which were founded in the late 1970s, but started hitting their stride in the 1980s.
BioWare didn't suck. I just want to look up.
Such big independent companies
we love Oracle.
Failed to emerge in 1980s Japan, either for lack of customer acceptance or insufficient venture capital investment, an unwieldy lifetime employment system, a cultural lack of initiative/risk taking. Take your pick. One relevant issue that industrial people considered was that Japanese programmers lacked a quote-unquote good software environment to develop software in.
Okay.
With the industry all working on custom software, there was no widely accepted platform or operating system that the broader industry could agree to all use.
By 84, they should have been... Wait, when did Unix pop in? Unix. Because by 84... Yeah, 84, the West had already adopted Unix. Yeah, absolutely. So Japan didn't jump on the Unix train. Okay, I didn't know that. That's what I was asking about that before. I had assumed that they had jumped on Unix as well.
Independent of hardware. This left Japanese engineers quite unproductive. a number of options presented themselves, and one possible pathway was Tron, a domestic OS project initiated in 1984 by Dr. Ken Sakamura of the University of Tokyo. It sought to create a quote-unquote open operating system to break the tightening grip of Microsoft software and Intel hardware. It did not produce any actual source.
This is 84. Why are you trying... Why are we not building something... Why are we not building something Unix compatible? Wait, I'm so confused. Why were they not building something Unix compatible in 84? Pretty cool. Never heard of Tron before. This is the first I've heard of it as well.
Code, but rather a set of interfaces and design guidelines, more like POSIX, the IEEE's operating system standards, rather than like a Linux kernel. The most important Tron variant was the Business Tron, or B-Tron. PC makers like Matsushita Electric adopted the standards and started producing...
He said they didn't really have that good... They didn't have really good teachers. Actually, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Some developers in Japan aren't bilingual. It's not... Well, yeah, I guess back then it probably wasn't as he did say that as well. There wasn't as much bilingual software developers. This is a different Tron legacy. It is.
Producing a B-Tron compliant PC for use in Japanese schools like the PCs from Acorn Computers in the UK. But then in April 1989, the US Trade Representative Office specifically listed B-Tron as a potential Japanese trade barrier. The Tron Association protested, and the office later removed that mention, but the damage was done.
Wait, is that... Wait, is that... What is this? Is this supposed to be a trackpad? I think that's supposed to be a trackpad. Because there's definitely a... Like, this is a graphical environment, and there's definitely a cursor here. Wasn't Unix 1969? Yes. This is why I'm confused. Also, nice keyboard layout. Yeah, like, I just noticed that as well. Isn't that, like... No, okay. I was gonna say, that kind of looks... It kind of looks like an ergonomic layout, but you've got the inner keys here facing, like, away from where your thumb is. It's kind of ergonomic. Like, it's ergonomic-esque. It's certainly a lot more ergonomic than what you would see on like, a regular keyboard, that's for sure. Looks like this keyboard just split in two, but someone put them together the wrong way around. It kind of does, doesn't it?
Japanese microprocessor companies and already embroiled...
Okay, here we go. Here's another... Oh, okay, no, take... Okay, take back everything I said about ergonomic. Take back everything I said. Holy shit. Two sets of arrow keys. What is this layout? The design is very human. This guy looks like he's screaming here. They're two different keyboards if you look closely. I don't think so. No, because there's not... No, because there's not duplicate keys. Because you don't... Yeah, you have your Z over here, you have your X over here. So they're definitely not two different keyboards. And you have your is that like a confirmation or is that a Maru? I'm not sure. This is so weird. I don't know what the deal with the duplicate arrow keys is. I mean the previous one. Or maybe those are different keyboards. That's possible. I'm so confused by this. I don't think there is a comfortable way to use this keyboard. Because, like, these ones over here as well, could you, like, angle... Wait, imagine you have to actively use these parts. Like, this is how you get really bad, Like, really bad wrist problem. How is this good for kanji? It would be an input method editor. So it's got each of the keys here have hiragana. So it would have some sort of input method editor that then, as you type out different hiragana, it would convert them into the kanji it needs to be in. Same way you do it on modern computers, just with a stupid keyboard layout.
In the US-Japan semiconductor kerfuffle, pulled out, causing B-Tron to collapse. Tron is still around. The Nintendo Switch's Joy-Con controllers use an OS that is Tron compliant.
What? I'm sorry, what?
Though Tron couldn't save those controllers from drifting so hard with minimal use. And the Hayabusa 2 space probe that went to an asteroid and came back with some stuff uses a Tron OS variant. So yeah, Tron does some cool stuff. Sakamura later accused the US government of strangling B-Tron in the cradle. Maybe. But I am more of the opinion that B-Tron's lack of applications and general slowness probably made it a dead end from the start.
Brodie linked this video. I definitely...
in 1985, as the B-Tron...
Oh, there you go. There's Unix. I was going to say, where the hell is Unix in this story? Here's the video.
One thing played out, another MIDI-sponsored consortium kicked off the 5-year Software Industrialized Generators and Maintenance Aids, or Sigma project. Funded with 25 billion yen, Sigma's lofty goal...
We're not going to do the fucking Gen A brain rot.
Was to drastically improve the productivity of Japanese programs.
Sigma, Software Industrialized Generator for Maintenance Aids. Why?
Programmers. The foreign media played up that angle, but in reality, what the project did was develop standards, configurations, and applications for a line of networked Unix workstation computers.
Mm-hmm.
As you might guess, Sigma fell far short of its ultimate goals, but it did cause...
Let's have a look at this. 32-bit internal register, fair enough, don't care about that. 4 megabyte minimum of the main memory. 8 megabyte minimum logical area. 20 megabyte minimum user area for the hard disk. Floppy disk, okay. Wait, there were 8-inch floppy disks? I didn't even know there were 8-inch floppy disks. What? 8-inch floppy. Let me show you a picture of this. I was only, like... Here you go. that right there is an 8-inch floppy. That's a fucking big boy. CRT. That's a... Wow, what the hell? 1024 by 768 dots. Holy shit. That's a Wait, was that like normal back then for like displays? That, okay. Kanji 24 by 24 dots, 40 characters, 24 lines. Huh.
Fujitsu, Hitachi, and NEC to transition.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like, was that common for CRTs of the time?
VM platforms to Unix.
CTR, Crash Team Racing.
But in classic Japanese and Unix fashion, it heavily customized
Simulator
it.
3.
Fujitsu had
Earth Simulator 3. This is just a video game.
TSM, NEC, Super UX, and Hitachi, High UX.
Mm-hmm.
Mainframes and the supercomputers are one area where the old Japanese playbooks still worked like a charm. Adopting Unix gave Fujitsu and company a bit of a
If 4 kilobytes of RAM space got us to the moon, why does a single Chrome tab consume orders of magnitude as much? Because you're not going to the moon to watch Linus Tech Tip videos. That's why.
Can win. In the 1990s, Japan made some of the world's fastest supercomputers, challenging the famed Cray Research Company. Unfortunately, it remained a very niche success.
Going to the moon doesn't render 4K.
In 1990,
exactly.
The Japanese real estate bubble popped, sending the country into
I know about that one! I played Yakuza. I know about the Japanese real estate bubble.
Infamous years-long recession. Customers could no longer afford expensive software modifications. The big Japanese mainframe makers like Fujitsu and Hitachi struggled to adapt to this new cost-conscious environment, entering a slow, long-term decline. More importantly, the real estate crash struck at the heart of Japanese confidences. The United States started pulling away on the basis of its long-held competitive advantages in software.
If the channel's called Linus Tech Tips, why has Linus never shown us his tip? Don't tempt him, he'll do it.
And suddenly principles long held to heart at MIDI were called into question. Throughout the decades, MIDI's playbook was to give their domestic champion some money and a popular product. MIDI told those companies to reverse engineer the product and figure out how to make more of it cheaper than anyone else can. Such products would then be sold abroad. This worked well for industrial items like steel.
I just noticed the English on the sign here. Get off only. English signs in Japan, they're not, like, this is obviously in the 80s, but, like, they're not much better now from what I've seen. Get off. Why is that happening? Wait, I thought I disabled that.
Products would then be sold abroad. This worked well for industrial items like steel or automobiles, but software can already be easily copied. What makes one software package more successful than another isn't quote-unquote replication economics, but rather widely held standards.
I think you need multiple people to use the same emote, rather than just one person.
Networks of applications or users, and consumer familiarity. As consumer products got more reliant on their operating software, it got harder for Japan's one-time mighty consumer companies to compete in the open market.
Yeah, you're not going to be with the iPad
The PC
Nano.
is a classic case of a very software-heavy consumer electronics product
PC98.
that Japan wrong-footed. For a decade or more, NEC owned the domestic market in PCs thanks to a hardware-accelerated version of MS-DOS capable of handling the Japanese language, the PC98.
Yeah, brother.
But in the early 1990s, IBM, Microsoft, and Intel finally cracked NEC's stagnant PC monopoly. A new version of DOS with Japanese language support opened the door for foreign-made software and hardware to finally...
Honestly, like, sure, there's only so much you can do with, yeah, PC98 was DOS, yeah. There's only so much you can do with, like, low, like, such a low resolution, but I'm genuinely impressed by how readable kanji, hiragana, and katakana are on a display like this. Like, yeah, like, the basic stuff, like, your katakana here, your hiragana here, so, like, the kanji we have here, like, yeah, it's like, simple forms, but for what you're mostly going to be using, like, that's actually readable.
Enter the Japanese market. This time, the Japanese government and MIDI decided...
Imagine playing OG Toho on a real PC98 machine. Now that's the dream. Clock 8 megahertz.
...to let it play out, deciding a more globalized approach was necessary. Now fully exposed to the market, NEC's overpriced and relatively simple products crumbled. There is no doubt that the fall of the NEC PC98...
Why are you posting the tree kanji in my chat? Wait, or is that forest? Wait, hold up. This is tree. Yes? Wait. Now I feel stupid. That is... Yeah, it's tree. Yeah.
8 was a boon for consumers, but it also cemented Microsoft's domination of the Japanese market. No domestic Japanese software maker has since mounted a credible challenge to the American giant. A similar game played out a few years later. Japanese telecom NTT Docomo created a mobile 2G web browser, which they developed into a mobile internet service called iMode. Launched in 1999, it became quite popular.
Any tips for learning Japanese? I'm not good at Japanese. Wait, there is... I'll find the video. Wait, do I have the video here? I'll see. Let me just see. I'm not the person to ask. Where is it? Where is the video? Is it in my... It should be in my history. I'm not going to find it now, am I? It was a really good video. No, but the way you do it, right, is you just... No, not Liverkivi's video. But that's also a good video. What you do is you go on the internet and you look up Japanese podcast and then you listen to it. And then you start doing Anki and then you find words that are being said and then you do that. And you do that for 7 years and then you eventually become somewhat reasonable at listening.
40 million subscribers in 2003. NTT sought to export this standard.
Watch an episode of JoJo 50 times without subtitles. No, a better way to do it is watch kids shows. The reason you watch kids shows is kids shows often point to an object and say, is that this thing? And then you get like the visual representation of it alongside the word. What I'm saying is go watch Dora the Explorer in Japanese or go watch Peppa Pig in Japanese. I'm not actually joking. What was Ladybeard? Ladybeard watched all of Peppa Pig in Japanese multiple times. That's a good way to start.
Standard abroad, marketing it as another revenue generator for telecoms tapped out in mobile telephony. Unfortunately, iMode failed to take hold abroad, in part due to a lack of adoption by handset partners. The window of opportunity then closed with the release of the iPhone and its extremely rich application ecosystem. Before we conclude, I want to thank a friend of the channel who suggested this topic during a Tokyo meetup. Or not thank, since I found this one exceptionally difficult. Do you know how hard it is to prove a negative? In closing, I would like to emphasize that Japan does have a software industry. It is actually quite large.
Mm-hmm.
The core issue is that Japan's software landscape remains dominated by either custom-made packages with no greater sales potential or imported products made abroad. And for all of its industrial policies, Japan's brightest spot in software is probably gaming. And that is despite issues on the town side clearing up. I have personally heard that Japanese software programmers are quite good without needing American-scale salaries. The Ruby language was first produced by a Japanese, though the Rails framework that made it famous was done by a Danish guy.
I did not know that, actually.
Japan Inc.'s continued lag in the global software industry has been a point of discussion across multiple technological eras. I've heard few suggestions on how to fix it. And to be honest with you, I struggle to come up with coherent policy answers as well. Alright everyone, that's it for tonight. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, sign up for the Patreon, and I'll see you guys next time.
I wish I could find this video again, because actually it was a really good video. This is not it, is it? No, that's a short. No, it definitely was not that one. Fuck, what was the video? Oh, it had a lot of really good links in the description as well. I should have saved I should have saved it. Give me a second. I'll see if I can find it. Now watch your silly glitch video. I'll do that in just a sec. What you do, right, is go look up Japanese immersion, and there you go. That's all you do. Oh, wait. This is the video. I'm not going to watch it again because I already watched it, but this is a really good video. Go watch this video, and then do what he says in the video, and go through the resources he has, and there you go. Go watch that one. As the video we just watched, that is this video right here. I knew a little bit about Japan's software industry. I didn't really know, like, I didn't know the fact they never adopted Unix, for example, right? Like, I had assumed that was, like, the thing that everybody did then, because it just made sense to do. Like, why would you not adopt Unix? But I guess there was all of those issues with dealing with the US. They wanted to, like, make their own thing, all that stuff. Japan has, like, there's, like, a weird history there. What being a monolingual person does to a person. Yeah, imagine being a boring monolingual person. I'm not. I speak Australian and English. And then a terrible Japanese. Same reason why there are Windows users, I guess. Well, the Windows user thing is just, like, it's become well, going back to what he was saying with the Fujitsu plan, it's become the standard. Doesn't that mean we can just say fuck it and just re-implement whatever we want? Just reverse engineer it. Look at the leaked code. Like, imagine if this logic was actually true, right? Imagine if this logic was actually true, where if you wanted to like make a Windows clone, you could just look at the XP source code and just say, fuck it, this is mine now. Yeah, a couple of years. I'm definitely not good by any means. My listening is a lot better than my speaking. My speaking is horrendous. But I can, like, sort of half follow along with a reasonable conversation. Start using any specific complex terminology, I'm fucking lost. But yeah, I did do a Japanese study stream. I have been very lazy with it. That's the thing. I should be a lot further than I am. I should have started doing immersion a lot earlier, because that really does help. But yeah, I basically just listen to Japanese audio a lot. Like psycho levels of Japanese audio. Don't pretend like you live in Japan, right? Listen to like 12 hours of Japanese audio a day. If you're sitting around watching reaction videos, stop doing that. Go watch Japanese reaction videos, unless they're my videos, and then you should watch them. But if you're not watching my videos, go watch videos in Japanese. If you're sitting around and you want... does music count? Music's like its own separate thing. You can listen to music and never listen to the words, right? Like, there's a lot of English music I don't understand. But the idea that, like, the most commonly accepted way is learn the way that you learned English, or whatever I don't know if English was your first language. Learn the way that you learned whatever your first language was, which is... you heard people speaking the language, and then over time your brain made connections, and then as you but you're also an adult, so you can like use your adult mind. English is your first. Okay, I wasn't sure if you spoke another language, because I know Robertson, obviously English is not his first language, but regardless, point I'm saying is, like, you can use your adult mind and take words that you hear that you don't understand, and then like learn off of those. But that's a whole nother thing. This is a good video. I'm definitely gonna check the channel out more. I don't know what else they've actually what else they put out. So I definitely want to have a look at some of the other stuff they've done at some point in the future. Okay, so it's we got some stuff on China here. First neural networks. Okay. I definitely am going to check out more of this. Birth of the Hard Disk. I'm definitely going to check out more of this channel. That is a really cool channel. That is a really cool channel. Absolutely. Asianometry are mostly history focused. It's a great channel. Yeah, it definitely is. I'll be back in just a second, and then we'll go to our next thing.